Welcome back. I'm Ted Thomas, and in this episode, I'm going to answer the question, is Texas a tax lien or a tax deed state? Well, you're going to be surprised and you're going to like what you hear. But I'm also going to give you some inside tips that I'll cover in the middle part of the session, and then I'll end with a few things that you want to avoid before you go to the auction. You'll definitely want this information. So I'm Ted Thomas. I've been doing this for about 30 years. I've been actually teaching it for the last 25 years. And we're going to talk about tax deeds, redeemable tax deeds, because you see, Texas does not sell tax liens. They sell tax deeds, which means a tax defaulted property. And they sell what they call a redeemable tax deed. And that simply means that when you buy the deed to that property, it's redeemable. In other words, the owner can come back and buy it back from you. But if they come and buy it back from you, they have to pay you whatever you paid plus 25%. So think about what I just said. You're going to make a 25% return. Now let's talk a little bit about Texas. First of all, this is a big state. 254 counties. Harris County, Houston is the biggest, followed by Dallas. Now I say the biggest in terms of a number of people. Okay, now the whole auctions in Texas every month. That means they're authorized to have 254 auctions every single month. You can spend the rest of your life and never leave Texas, and you'll find a lot of auctions. Now, what do they sell? When the property owner does not pay their taxes, the property is in default, and the treasurer will put that property in default, and they will sell at auction a redeemable deed to that property. And that means they will auction off the deed. Now, when you buy a deed usually is a transferable device to you. Well, you're not going to get a property. You don't get possession, but what you have is the deed. Now, the deed, again, is like a tax lien to there. It's like a piece of paper. You're going to get that deed, and now the deed will earn you in one day 25%. So any day from day 1 to day 180, if you own that deed and they come in and redeem, they come in and pay for it, they have to give you back all your money plus 25%. So let's think about this. If you bought a deed for $50,000, anytime they want to come in, they can come in and buy it back from you by adding 25% to that. That would be $12,500 in 180 days. Think about the return. So the whole state is like that. So Texas, they have a redeemable deed. Now, in most cases, at a tax lien sale and at a tax deed sale, the mortgage is wiped out. Now, that doesn't mean the mortgage is torn up. That means that it's cleared off the property. In a redeemable tax deed state, the mortgage, or in this case, it's a deed of trust, is going to stay on the property. The good news is, in Texas, when you buy a redeemable deed, you're going to earn up to 25%. The challenge, which most people don't understand, is that the mortgage, or they call it a deed of trust in Texas, is not wiped out. So in a tax lien state or a tax deed state, the mortgage is wiped out. In Texas, the mortgage, which is called a deed of trust, is going to stay on the property. So that means when you buy the property, if someone has a redeemable deed, they want to come in and pay, they have to come in and pay you whatever you paid plus 25%. But if they don't come in and pay, you'll get the property. You will be responsible for that deed of trust. All right, so what does all this mean to all of you? So Texas is not a tax lien state. This is a tax deed state. Now, why is the county selling these redeemable deeds? The county needs money. The school district needs money. So the county could be doing the foreclosure, or the school could be doing. So the school districts will be there. So if you go to a big auction like in a Harris County, you'll see 10 or 12 auctioneers in the same room auctioning different properties at the same time. So you'll have to pick which one that you're supposed to go to, and you'll do that because you'll have a number and know what precinct is auctioning off the property. But why are they auctioning? They're auctioning because they did not collect back taxes. And what are they auctioning? They're auctioning a redeemable deed. That's what they're auctioning off. Now, the deed of trust, which is the loan document, stays on the property. All right, now, how do you make money? You make money in two different ways in Texas, and you make powerful amounts of money. So if you raise your hand, offline or online, you raise your hand to buy, you're now buying a redeemable deed. And when you do that, if they come in one day and pay you, you're going to get all your money plus 25%. They have 180 days to pay you. I said 180 days. That's 6 months. They can recover their deed any day in 180 days. And that means you're going to make 25%. It's a great investment. Now, sometimes it can roll into a second year, but that has to do with agricultural properties, and I don't want to confuse you on this one. I want to make sure you get it super simple. Redeemable deeds is what they're selling. You can earn up to 25%, so that should be clear. Anybody can buy a redeemable deed. You just have to be the top bidder at the auction. Whoever the top bidder is, the highest bidder gets it. Now, how do you know what to do? Well, first of all, I wouldn't be an amateur and show up at the sale. The reality of the whole thing is I would go to the sale 2 or 3 times to observe the auction because it's confusing between the deed of trust and the mortgage and the redeemable deed. A redeemable deed is the deed that would normally transfer the property. That deed goes to the auction buyer. The deed of trust is nothing more than a promissory note. So try to keep those two clear in your mind and don't let anybody trick you and let you think that the mortgage is wiped out. It's not. The deed of trust will stay on that property. Now, after the auction takes place, the property owner can come back and redeem any day for 180 days. 95, 97% of these people will come in and redeem. In other words, they will pay you whatever you paid plus a whopping 25%. All right, so how do you do your research? Well, let's think this thing out just a little bit. A lot of properties will be in the 300 to 500,000 range. If they're selling a property that has that kind of value and it has a $200,000 mortgage on it, well, you've really got to think about what you're doing because the mortgage is staying with the property. So if it's worth 300 and the mortgage is staying with the property, you better really think what you're going to bid because if you decide to bid 100,000, now you've got a mortgage for 200 and you're 100, you're at retail value. So you need to understand what you're doing at this auction. If you bid $100,000 and the property owner does not come in and redeem, you now have a $300,000 property that's worth 300. That's not profitable. The point is a little education would go a long way. So with just a little bit of education, you can make 25% on every single property that you buy in Texas. Now, there are other redeemable states, okay? Georgia is another one that's specific. So I've already given you 2 of those now. I'll have videos on each one of these. I can't mix the videos together because it gets too confusing, but we'll come back and give you a video on each one of those. All right, question comes up on a regular basis. What kind of deed will you get for an auction property? Well, if you're talking about Texas, you're going to get a redeemable deed, okay? If you were talking at a regular auction, they could give you a treasurer's deed. They could give you a quitclaim deed. They could give you anything but a warranty deed. The county is not going to warranty your property. So get real nervous. When you get a quitclaim deed, that means the county is disclaiming any responsibility and you now have the responsibility. Don't think a quitclaim deed is something that's easy to handle. You will have to do a quiet title if you get one. I'm going to finish up for today, and as I finish up, I want to make sure that you avoid 2 big mistakes. Big mistake number 1, don't buy any property that you haven't seen. There's been no site or no boots on the ground. Don't buy the property. There could have been a windstorm. There could have been a flood. There could have been a fire. You don't know what you're buying if you don't see it. Second rule that I want you to be sure and follow and be careful is if you don't have an exit strategy, you don't want to buy a property. You don't want to bid on a property unless you have an exit strategy. You could easily bid too high and you couldn't sell it with the exit strategy that you developed afterwards. So that might not work. So those are 2 very important rules. Now, if you're learning a lot, I have other things that you could learn. So I'd like you to join my community. You do that by just going below me and registering. And if you do, I'll give you a gift. And it's a gift of a mini course. And that mini course is like a fast start course. And it's going to teach you about tax liens. And it's going to teach you about tax deeds. You get it free. Just register below me.